are heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline. State Senator Thomas Presley is here. Hey, Mr. Thomas, welcome back to Keel. How you doing?
Good morning, Robert. It's representative. I appreciate the update.
Did I say? Did I say? In fact, I think I said it now a couple of times, didn't I? I don't know what I was. I don't know what I was thinking. It's probably I got virus in my head. You are. Let me read what you wrote, and then I'll ask it. I don't mean it as a gotcha question to start, but it was the first thing I thought because it was the first thing I thought of. But I have virus in my head. Governor Edwards' stay-at-home order is set to expire on April 30th. And it's time for Louisiana to begin the process of reopening our businesses under the phased guidelines provided by the White House. Did you write that because you think the governor might not follow those White House guidelines, that you think that John Bel might move a little slow? What was your thinking there?
Well, my thinking is that it's time to start opening the economy on May 1st. And I think that, that has been a goal date for sure, and I think the numbers are showing that we are doing a good job in most of the state of hitting targets. We're seeing a decline in the number of cases, an increase in the number of testing, and a decrease in the number of people that are hospitalized. This virus is terrible, and it's certainly affecting a lot of people. That's awful, and I'm certainly not advocating for us to go out and open the entire economy and go back to normal and sing Kumbaya, because I think that the bottom line is this virus is going to be around for quite some time, and it's dangerous. There's no question about that. But I also think that by keeping our small businesses closed, by keeping our entire economy shut down, by not allowing elective procedures to happen, we're causing some heartache not only on the healthcare front, but also on the economy front. And I think it's time that we start working on moving the economy forward.
When you look at the president's guidelines at the national level, it seems to be for worse. I was going to say for better or worse. No, for worse, breaking down once again on political lines. The Dems are saying, no, it's too early. You're going to hurt more and more people. And the Republicans are saying basically, and the president, what you're saying, look, we can't just shut down America's economy ad infinitum. Do you see, talking to other elected officials in Louisiana, that there is that same divisiveness, or do you see more of a sense of we're in this together, we got to make a plan?
I think there's certainly a sense of camaraderie and that we're in this together. You heard Commissioner Darden this morning say that he believes that the governor is going to move to open up the economy in the not-too-distant future. That's basically what I'm calling for. I mean, in 10 days, I think that it's time to start the process of reopening our small businesses and allowing elective surgeries to occur, which are becoming less and less elective each day. The president's plan is a phased approach, and I think it makes sense in Louisiana to begin the process of phasing in our economy.
You say let's reopen May 1st. Give me some nuts and bolts. What reopens May 1st under the Thomas Presley plan?
Well, it's not the Thomas Presley plan. I want to be clear about that. It's the White House plan, and you can learn more about it by going to whitehouse.gov/opening America. And basically what it does, it allows our small business to begin to reopen. It allows for, avoiding socialization of groups of bigger than 10 people.
Churches?
Churches are allowed to open, but they, again, are requiring, or rather are advising, for strict physical distancing protocols to be used in order for those larger venues, such as churches or movie theaters, to reopen. And I think that makes sense. We've got to continue to be cautious about this virus and the spread of the virus. We want to make sure we wash our hands, don't touch our face, clean common surfaces often, and keep that 6 feet distance between us and other people. But at the same time, we've got to be able to begin the process of reopening the economy. And I think that the president's plan that was rolled out last week makes sense in that regard. I think by listening to Commissioner Darden, he agrees with that as well. And the governor appears to be on that in that same ballpark and wanting to begin the process of moving our economy forward.
Let me ask you this. There's concern, too, about another wave of this. that if we do things too prematurely, we're talking about more problems. Is that a high concern for you?
Absolutely. It's a huge concern. And I think that the important thing is that, in having a phased-in approach, we can avoid a second wave. This
How would you do that?
Pretty limited. I mean, it has a limitation. It requires continued social distancing. It requires that, any restaurant that opens, that we have a pretty significant amount of space between tables. It again is calling for personal responsibility and doing the things that we know will help keep the virus from spreading. Washing our hands for at least 20 seconds, not touching our faces, disinfecting common surfaces, wearing a mask when you're in public, as advised by the president and the governor. Those things don't go out the window. We're not talking, moving full-fledged ahead and totally totally moving forward without any protocols being put in place to ensure the safety of ourselves and our families and our community.
Thomas, when you're talking to other elected officials, more specifically legislators, are you guys as freaked out about the possibility of no LSU football as Aaron is?
I think certainly we want to go back to having our sporting events, and I think the NCAA as well as the state is going to have a hard time in making that call. Obviously, we're several months away from football season, but certainly we'd like to get back to the point where we can have sporting events that are open, though it may look a little different than prior years.
Thomas, one more thing. When we talk about going back and opening up small businesses, I have one big issue with that. In that I'm looking at my bottle of Lysol wipes in my studio. We're almost out. You can't find those things anymore. You can't find Purell. When we're going to reopen businesses, why are those supplies still gone? Why are those not replenished? Why haven't we stepped that up? If we're sending people back out to work and back out to businesses, when I go in these restaurants that 100 other people have touched the door handle, I want some disinfectant inside that restaurant that I can squish on my hand. You know what I mean? Where are those supplies? What's happened with that?
Absolutely. I think that's an important aspect of this, and we want to make sure that we get our supplies out there. And there are supplies. To the credit of many, many small businesses in this country, as well as in our area in particular, Innovisor, for example, has started creating instant hand sanitizer. That's a company that generally does healthcare products, but has moved into the hand sanitizer arena to help create and get the demand met. And so those are things that are important, and we certainly want to ensure that the supplies are out there. And I know that small businesses throughout this country are working to ensure that that's a reality.